Hey everybody, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch, and I'm going to tell you the truth about the NFL. I'm going to tell you, the game of the day was supposed to be the Chiefs and the 49ers, and for the first half, it was going the way I thought. Okay, back and forth, all right. 49ers with all their weapons, McCaffrey playing pretty well against Mahomes. But, the 49ers got that defense, so we'll see. Went up 10-0. And a touchdown pass was thrown by Garoppolo. He threw it up for grabs and got away with it. But nevertheless, they're up 14, 10-0. And then the 9-play, 73-yard drive, Mahomes is dealing. Everybody, the backup tight ends getting the ball, Watson, both the backup tight ends, Juju Schuster-Smith, who had a really good game, Kelsey, McKinnon ran well, Pacheco ran well. And then Mecole Hardman has found his niche with that jet sweep, 8-yard run. Hard. For a little guy, he runs hard. And they figured out little ways to get short yardage, which would be hard when you don't see a big back. But Andy Reid has schemed so well that they're able to get their short yardage and become lethal in short yard situations like that. And then the 49ers had a chance to really improve their lead, and Garoppolo throws the ball up for grabs for an interception in the end zone, and he does that a lot. That's what'll keep the 49ers out of the Super Bowl, because they are loaded. And tight ends, receivers, Juszczyk is a backup tight end, and then you have Kittle, and then Ayuk and Debo. Whew. But it didn't matter. In the second quarter, Mecole Hardman, 25-yard run off the jet sweep again. It was just amazing. And he ran hard on that play. They took the lead. They could have had a bigger lead. They missed a field goal. Harrison Buckner missed the field goal. He does that a lot. He got a great leg, but he'll miss easy field goals too. And I said, okay. Then Hilaire scores, 3-play, 33-yard after a long kickoff return by Pacheco. Set the tone. They take a 21-13 lead. Here comes the 49ers, but they can't finish with a touchdown. And you can't keep kicking field goals against Kansas City as good as your defense is. And it wasn't. The Niners defense wasn't. And then 21-16, here comes the KC. Justin Watson, their backup tight end. And it was 9 plays, 75 yards, and it was a lot of juju. There was a lot of the formations were just their symmetry right now is sick right now. And then, okay, the Niners come back in the fourth quarter. All right, 28-23, down 5. Oh, we got a game. And then they just 80-yard drive, 6 plays, bing, 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 bing. Hartman, another jet sweep 3-yard run for a touchdown. And then Garoppolo, with zero sense of awareness, gets sacked in the end zone. It was just vintage Garoppolo. I saw him with a sack like that against the Broncos too. And then Juju Schuster-Smith, who had a great game, catch all a 45-yard touchdown. It was just what I do like about what Kansas City's doing is they've defined the roles now. And I wasn't sure what they're going to do without Tyreek Hill, but it looks like they figured it out, because now they are getting the ball deep, which is big. They are definitely getting the ball deep. To Valdez-Scantling, who had a 57-yard pass. Juju Schuster was 7 for 124 with a touchdown. That is their guy. You always, in this offense, the way Andy Reid set up, you always want that lead dog as your receiver. And I kept saying, get that ball to Juju Schuster. You're not getting it to him enough. They're getting it to him now. He's not the blazer. He can't blow the top off the defense, but he gets open. He gets those tough catches. 3rd and 7, he's going to run that route. He's going to make that tough catch. Sometimes he'll drop, but a lot of times he'll make that tough catch. Keep those chains moving. And what's making the Chiefs were more dangerous than I thought. The defense was solid. I guess they against a 49er team which had all those weapons. I don't trust Garofalo, so that kind of led to them only scoring 23 points. But they did what they had to do. But what's scary in offense is the fact that they're running the ball through in short yard situations with those jet sweeps where Miko Hartman is running in motion, then he's getting the ball in the jet sweep, and he's getting it over and over again. So what's going to happen is Andy Reid's going to see that on film. And your eyes are going to say, uh-oh, he's coming our way. Let's load the defense up. Listen, Miko Hartman's getting this ball in the jet sweep. So let's jump that play and let's get after him in the backfield. As soon as that ball gets handed, we'll be waiting for him. So what the Chiefs may do is have the exact same formation. Your eyes are going to tell you is going to the jet sweep, and Mahomes will pull it back and then throw the ball down the middle to Kelsey or over the top to Juju Schuster-Smith for a touchdown. So that's what's making them really dangerous because now they're running it a little bit. So now when they're getting in the red zone, you don't really know what they're going to do. Usually, they're going to pass, they're going to do something finessey. But the fact that they could bang you in the middle with in between attacks with Pacheco and Pacheco and McKinnon, or Miko Hartman around the corner on the run, or Hilaire running hard. Let's stop the run. But now you're man on man with Juju and Kelsey, and that's lethal if you don't get to. You better get to Mahomes a lot. You better do like what the Bills did and just have a Vaughn Miller type of guy where you're just getting after him. But and I want to talk about the surprise team. That's the Seahawks smashing the team I thought was going to be good, the Chargers. I know Chargers don't have Bosa, but come on, man. That's ridiculous. And Deion Smith, 20 of 27, he just stayed with it, even when it looked like he was done. And he said he put in the work. And I'm going to tell you a saying that I heard and I use a lot. Hard work wins, okay? And he had 210, 2 TDs. He puts in the work. And Pete Carroll doesn't have a lot of losing seasons. And it looked like they were going to be a little down. But they're fighting. Their offense is solid. They have a terrific running back in Kenneth Walker. And they're in first place right now. And I look at the NFL standings because you didn't have a lot of great games yesterday. I will say this. The Giants and Jets both won yesterday. And they're very well coached, especially the Giants. It's more coaching. Daniel Jones and Barkley are carrying them. They don't have a lot of great receivers, but it doesn't matter where you're scheming the heck out of the game. You got Thibodeau as a great pass rush on defense, and the other guys just play hard. But what they did is they said, listen, we'll have a whole bunch of named guys like the Cowboys or the Niners, but we'll scheme the heck. Wink Martindale will scheme the heck out of the game and will stay close. And they had a 10-0 fourth quarter. And Giants are winning the fourth quarter because of their discipline and how well coached they are. And that goes a long way. And the Jets end up beating the Broncos. And if you look at the standings, I can give you a common theme. December. These divisional games coming up, and both these conferences are going to be off the charts. The Jets are 5-2. The Dolphins are 4-3. And the Patriots are leading the Bears right now. I expect them to win, barring some crazy thing happening. They'll probably be 4-3. The Jets and Patriots play each other this week, but they're all going to play each other at the end of the year. The Jets are going to play Buffalo twice. The Jets got the Dolphins in South Beach. They already smashed them without Tua, but Tua will be there. And you look at the AFC North, I don't trust the Ravens at all, but the Bengals are starting to, the way they beat up on the Falcons, they're starting to find themselves with T. Higgins and now Chase. And now they're starting to get the rhythm back. And they might start to separate themselves from the pack if they could play better defense. Their schedule's really tough. I do not think they're going to go to Buffalo and win, but that remains to be seen. Jacksonville's disappoint me. They're probably a year away. The Colts and the Texans are a dumpster fire. So the Titans, by default, is winning. I don't know how good the Titans are. I know they got some tough teams coming up, so I get to find out. But the AFC West, the Raiders, I mean, come on, man. They ended up beating the Texans, but they're still they're one of the best 2-4 teams in the NFL. But I don't know. The Broncos are a dumpster fire, so it looked like the Chiefs are going to comfortably move ahead, and because of the injuries and the lack of a lot of writers and broadcasters and podcasters do not trust the Chargers coach. I don't. They have great talent, but now Bosa's not there, and they really underachieved. They got destroyed by the Seahawks. It should have been competitive at least. You're at home. But I got the Chiefs starting to move away in. I wanted to shy away from just putting the Chiefs and Buffalo in the conference finals, but they're headed that direction. But, there could be a new team like a Cincinnati, or there could be like a Miami Dolphins if they could get going, or the Jets, because I want to see the Jets and Buffalo play in a couple of weeks in New Jersey, in the Meadowlands, playing the Bills, and that'll give me an idea of what the Jets are. If that's competitive and they lose, okay. Their quarterback is very young and raw, so I don't know how far they could go with Zach Wilson. And then they lose their running back for the year. That is just, but there could be a team coming out of nowhere that could clip the Bills or the Chiefs. But it looks like they're at the time in October they're on a collision course. But we got to see, injuries can be so devastating. So let's see if, barring a bad injury, if they could see each other. I don't trust the Ravens. They should have lost yesterday to the Browns. They almost threw the game away after a bad fumble. They could have put the game away. I don't trust them. In the NFC, could Minnesota make a Super Bowl run? Could they at least get to the conference championship with Cousins? They're so good. They might just, and that division is so bad. And then the South is horrible because my guy, PJ Walker, they're talking about, Brady lost his third string guy. Listen, this third string guy can play. And I got an interview with PJ Walker coming up after this segment. I'm going to insert that in there. He came from Elizabeth, New Jersey, played at Temple, is a hard worker, puts in the time, and I knew when he was going to come in there, he was going to play well. 2 touchdowns. This guy could play. I'm not saying he's Brady or Allen or Mahomes, but you're in good hands when he's on that football field. Every time he's got in that football field, other than the Ram game last week where he just got in, he's been solid. But you're going to hear the pundits say, Brady lost to this nondescript nobody, but this nobody can play, okay? Let's get that straight. But the Seahawks are solid. I'm expecting the Rams to make a run. They're going to make a trade. They're going to get somebody. The Niners, they'll get to the playoffs. I don't trust them. I don't trust Arizona because I don't trust their quarterback or their coach. He's arguing with his coach. The coach don't have any control. That's just, and Kyler Murray's just, I don't know if it's uptight. I don't know what's wrong. I don't like his body language. I love his throwing ability. I don't like nothing about him as far as being a quarterback and all the intangibles. I love his arm. I love how he could make some great throws. He's not some guy that's a bum or nothing like that. I don't like his mental makeup. He's a mental midget. But there lies the NFL landscape. Right now, it looks like, and you look at the East, the Giants is 6-1. The NFC East, the games, even the Washington football team, they're a tough 3-4. They've been playing well. They should have beat the Titans. They should be 4-3. You got the Cowboys with that defense, Giants playing with that coach, and the Eagles with that roster. And they're all going to beat each other up in the coming weeks. The Cowboys get to see the Giants on Thanksgiving. The Eagles versus the Cowboys in Dallas Christmas Eve. And the Eagles and Giants play each other twice. This is going to be great for the NFL. But I had a chance a couple of years ago to talk to PJ Walker, who was a free agent at the time. And I kind of would do podcasts clamoring for this guy to get on the roster. And we had a talk, and he's just an awesome guy. And here it is.
Yeah.
Is it rolling?
Easier for you, so you
Everything.
don't have to stand there and hold the camera.
Oh no, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here with PJ Walker, NFL draft pick, who I'm so proud of because he's an Elizabeth homie. I covered Elizabeth back in the day. I've seen you since the 10th grade. Congratulations. How does it feel to be an NFL draft pick?
First off, I want to say thank you. You know, it's been a blessing just to, you know, have this opportunity and the privilege to be in the position I am in right now. You know, I'm honored to, you know, go out there and put on for the city. That's, in my opinion, you know, one of the biggest things people take full advantage of when they get that opportunity. So, you know, just going out there and being blessed about it and not doing things that's going to criticize my judgment and my game the right way.
Now, what about your years at Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Describe that, because that's when you know what? I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
When did you know, like, I'm going to be D1?
I would say in about 7th, 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had that mentality of watching guys that's in college go out there and play. You know, watching Kaz, watching Dashi, watching Ray Graham, all them guys.
Oh, Ray Graham.
You know, I realized that this Elizabeth got some talent, and we can go play with the best of them. And you know, just being able to go out there and do what I did on Friday nights in high school was just fun. You know, I was going out there having fun.
Yes, and before we get into your college years, three of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in Elizabeth was Al Hawkins, Asad Abdul-Khalik, and yourself. Yeah. And I watched you in the state championship game against Piscataway.
Yeah.
You know, I love Elizabeth, so that was painful.
Yeah.
You lose that game. You have one of the best games ever, but you do throw the pick in overtime.
Right.
You come back the next year. Mm-hmm. You wanted Piscataway.
Yeah.
So you get him again. Right. And it's another great close game. But you get stopped at the goal line. And you get the ball back deep in your territory with not a lot of time left. Yeah. Take me through that drive.
We're gonna stay poised. We're gonna stay at it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I always had this mentality: the more poised I am, the guys around me as poised as me. So I just went out there relaxed. I ain't had no worries. We're just gonna go out there and we're gonna play. You know, we wasn't thinking about nothing that was gonna happen that could have went wrong. But we ain't gonna get too high thinking about the things that could go right. So we just went out there and we just kept playing. You know, I've been in a similar situation this past year, you know, in college. We played UCF.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 30 seconds left on the clock. We down 5. It was 20-25. You know, I haven't played a really good game, you know, throughout the whole game. But, you know, when the lights turn on and it's time to shine, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put on for my teammates. You know, I'm going to go out there. I showed them that, you know, ain't no worries. You feel me? We just gonna go out there. We gonna have fun. We gonna go play. And you know that's what we did in the last 30 seconds. We took the ball down the field, 3 plays in 30 seconds, and we drove 70 yards down the field. So you know it's just the mentality you have. You know, in the back of your mind of I can go do this. That's the mentality.
So you win the state championship. You get your revenge with Piscataway. You go to the Temple. And you become a star your first year. Mm-hmm. There were distractions. Now you're the star. You're in college. You know the distractions. I gotta go. The women, the guy, whatever. All the stuff you got to deal with. How did you deal with it that first year?
It's just being humble, man. That's the type of person I am. I'm a humble person. Mm-hmm. People say it, but I actually am what I show what I am. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and brag about anything about what I've done. You know, if people know me around that campus, they know I ain't gonna say nothing about. I can walk around campus around there with my hood on and just keep on walking. You know, I ain't really out there to be being a flashy guy or anything like that. I'm just there to play football. I'm there to go to school, get my degree. So that was my mentality, and that's what I went there to do.
Now, 2015.
Yeah.
The day you play Penn State, and they say you've never, ever beat Penn State.
Yeah.
What's going on in your head? Like, hey, DJ, you guys never beat Penn State before. What was you thinking before that game?
So I've always heard that Temple's always came close to winning, beating Penn State. You know, I was a part of it my sophomore year. We went into the game. We played decent. We had a few turnovers and everything like that. The game went bad towards about the 4th quarter, and it showed that it's a lot of distractions when you go inside that Penn State stadium, man. You know, we got an opportunity to play them at home. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we got down early till we got down 10-0 going into half. we ain't had no worries still though. We won. It was the first game of the season. It was hot. It was 10-0 going into halftime. Next thing you know, we up 27-10.
That was a big win. That was really an eye-opener.
Yeah.
But I felt the biggest eye-opener that put you on the national map was the loss to Notre Dame when you played on national TV and you played so well. You lost 24-20. But after that game, everybody started talking about P.J. Walker. Hey, you see that guy from Temple? Temple's good. Yeah. Where did Temple come from? Mm-hmm. And that extra tension, how did you deal with that the rest of the year? Because now everybody knows you now.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was just the me though. It was the me. It wasn't a me thing. It was we had Jihad having.
Jihad. You know what? We're gonna get to Jihad next.
Was having a hell of a year. You know, he played some of his best football I've seen him ever play. You know, we had a great defense and I had a great group of receivers that made me look good. So when you got guys around you that make you look good, a lot of people are gonna say your name, but the guys around you ain't getting enough credit. Like I got a left tackle that just got drafted in the second round to the Buffalo Bills.
I saw that.
He getting no type of, you know, paper love or on the internet website, none of that. But at the end of the day, without that dude right there, the other four guys up front, ain't nothing else is on the offense is gonna work without them. So that's where it all started at right there.
Talk about the luxury of having a Jihad Thomas who you play with in high school. Yeah. He's a good running back, but he can catch like a receiver. Yeah. And that gave you extra balance that you need to stay on schedule.
Yeah, it gave me a more competitive edge. I want to have a better game than him. Like, that's the way we are though. Like if you come to our practice on Monday, like we run 10 half gases at Temple on Mondays. I'm trying to keep up with him. I ain't trying to keep up with everybody else because I know Jihad gonna be the first. I know he's gonna be the first one in line. I'm trying to keep up with that man right there. So if I can keep up with him, I'm doing good for myself. You feel me? So that was just the mentality I had. I'm trying to keep up with him and I'm trying to beat him in the race. You know, and not a lot of times I beat him in a race because he realized I'm competing against him. He turned his switch on. He get going. That's now, the competitiveness in us.
And the competitiveness permeated through the team because you went 10-4. Then the following year you followed up with a 10-4 season, and you have another good year. Yeah. Describe your senior year.
Well, it was the start. We started off slow because we had so much built up in us to where we kept hearing undefeated. And when you hear that in a college setting, it make you tense up a little bit. So we came out our first game, we lost against Army. You know, we wasn't supposed to lose that game, but we did, and it was an eye-opener for us.
Then you lost to Penn State. They got you back in Happy Valley, but then you got on the roll.
We lost to Memphis.
Lost to Memphis, that's right.
We going into one of the biggest games of our seasons at 3-3.
Yes.
So we go to UCF and we lose that game, the game that we drive 70 yards in 30 seconds. If we lose that game, our season over. And even though it's only game 6, but game 7, that's the end of our season.
7 yards in 30 seconds.
We got USF next, and USF ain't lose. Mm-hmm. Them boys ain't lose, so we had to go out there. We had to play, and that's what we did. We went out there after we beat UCF. We went on the road. We won a 7-game win.
Does the UCF game, is that the signature moment in your career that, you know, because when you go through adversity and you overcome adversity, that makes you a better team, that makes you a better player, and then you end up taking off after that.
I played terrible that whole game, like I said, but them last 30 seconds in that second half, our defense turned it up. And I felt like if after that game right there, the whole team hit a switch. It's just because the defense started clicking and I started clicking. You know, once we all started clicking, we started dominating teams. You know, we were just going out there playing, having fun, playing for each other. We had enough tears in the locker room, man. We went through it them first 6 games, and we showed everybody what we was capable of.
And you had another good season. Now you're going pro, and I looked at the scouting report. I've looked at you, and I looked at your measurables because that's the buzzword when it comes to scouting. Look at his measurables. And they say, well, he's a dual threat. I think you're a little more. I watched your tape. You're a little more in the dual threat because you run to pass. There's a lot of guys who run, and they just look and run. But your IQ is high because you run to look for receivers in the backfield. And in 2017, that's the perfect kind of quarterback with the different run-pass option plays that they have in the NFL now.
I hate the word dual threat because I know what I am.
I do too.
But I take it. You know, I can run if you want me to. But
you run good now.
I can throw the ball. I can throw the ball with the best of them, in my opinion. And you know, I've heard other people tell me that. So I'm not gonna shy away from doing my thing on the football field, whether it's running or throwing. But I know one thing: I'm gonna sit in that pocket, deliver that ball when I need to.
I tell you, there was one play that I liked. That it was, I don't know if it's a short yardage. You do a play fake, and you go back, and you throw it deep, but you put the perfect touch on the ball in the end zone. Do you remember that play?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Okay.
It was very Charlotte.
Very Charlotte. It was
Charlotte.
perfect that you put the perfect amount of air on the ball.
Yeah.
And that's an NFL throw. And I saw you making the different stick throws on the sideline that you have to make. And that's why I think, like people say, you're the most underrated quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
You're going to Indianapolis. The fans are terrific out there.
Yes.
So how is it? What do you think about that?
I'm just thankful they gave me this opportunity. You know, thankful for the opportunity. I'm just going out there. I'm preparing myself to be the best player I can be to help this team, help this organization succeed.
Andrew Luck is a steady holic.
Absolutely.
And you're like that too.
Absolutely.
So I think you guys are going to get along perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, I was in college. All right, you had to kick me out the facility, man. Like, I was there when the coaches were there till 11 o'clock at night. I had class the next day, but we practiced early. We practiced first, and then we went to class. But I wasn't getting home till 11:30 in college, just studying film, you know, being there from 6 to 11. I was working. I'd take breaks, go walk around the facility, play a little ping pong, but I'm right back to work when it's time to get back to work, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to take you to August. And the PA announcer says, PJ Walker entering the game. And you're taking that first snap. And it's on TV and you're in the NFL.
Yeah.
What's your feeling? You're under snap in your first snap. What's your feeling going to be like?
Just the same feeling I had when I was a freshman in college, same feeling I had when I was a freshman in high school. This opportunity only comes once, so you got to take advantage of it.
What's your goals this year?
To be the best I can be, you know, help out Andrew Luck, you know, just help him make his game even better than what it is now, you know. And when things go wrong, he can always. So I'm gonna try to have a relationship with him so where he can talk to me as well, you know, when things going wrong. You know, I'm just gonna be there to study the game and try to help the other guys around us better.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, when it comes to college football, I want to focus on the two games that were solid. I thought were really good matches because I knew Ohio State was going to kill Iowa. They'd be in 54-10. They ran up the score. The quarterback was still in the game. I'm not impressed. I know Tennessee was going to win. But there were two games. Actually, I could mention this game after the two games I talk about because it was really, really bad. Okay. Ole Miss and LSU. It was Ole Miss played well. Dart and they had everything going. Dart and Judkins at running back, Dart at quarterback were playing really well. They're moving the ball down the field. They're up 20-17 at the half. They could have been up a little more. They made a couple of silly mistakes, but okay. This looked like Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin could dial up enough plays. They're probably going to get out of here, and LSU with a close with LSU. Their pass rush looked like the old LSU. They got after Dart. And I'm going to tell you something. Jaden Daniels played a good run-pass option game. He passed 21 of 28, 248 yards and 2 TDs, and he was solid. He made the throws. He stayed in the pocket. He moved when he should have. He didn't sit there, and sometimes when you run the RPO, just run out of the pocket just arbitrarily. He stayed in there. They ran through the progressions. He made his passes, and he ran when he was supposed to. And Jenkins was good. And I'm going to tell you something. Jason Taylor's son, Mason Taylor, is a stud. He is a big, strong, tight end, wide receiver, hybrid type of guy. And they were solid. And Daniel scored he ran for 3 touchdowns. But I was more impressed with his ability to throw the ball and how Brian Kelly has got this team, and it played with a physicality. Daniels had 121 yards rushing, but what I like, and this going forward could make them really a pain in the neck, is Josh Williams running the ball. And Alabama, they destroyed Mississippi State. Okay, I knew they were going to be upset at home. They're just going to be, they're going to take it out of Mississippi State. Okay, I got that. But going forward in 2 weeks when they play, every time Alabama's gotten beat, if they don't just play just dreadful, every time Alabama's gotten beat, it's that quarterback that can throw good enough, but it's that dual threat to run on 3rd and 5. He can get you 7 to move the chains and keep the ball rolling, to keep Bryce Young off the field. LSU has that, and LSU got the pass rush. But I don't think they're explosive enough. But if you get that 17 penalty, pass interference, holding on defense, Alabama, Crimson Tide, and that's all in Tennessee, they could definitely beat Alabama. But if Bryce Young, who's just I can't say enough stuff about how great Bryce Young is, but if they're going to come in and Alabama's going to play the defense, and they're going to take their defense that they usually have in Tuscaloosa and take it and actually travel with the defense, that same mentality, then they get past LSU. But this is going to be a hard LSU. It could be more tougher than when they go to Ole Miss, which is going to be really tough. But because of how much more physical and how improved LSU is, and it's in the swamp, it's an old rival. That's going to be, and LSU has a history where they have in the past a few times with Burrow and with the team they had with the Honey Badger. They've gotten Alabama, so they do have the history. Ole Miss is beaten with Kelly at quarterback. They've gotten Alabama a few times in Ole Miss. So Alabama has got some tough road games, but this is going to be a really good test. If Alabama gets past Ole Miss and LSU, they're going to be hard to beat because now they've gotten over their road woes. So I'm looking forward to in 2 weeks to see if they could do that. I was so disappointed in UCLA. Come on. They got smoked. Okay, you're going to Oregon, but you're undefeated, and everybody with that talent you had, the offense, defense, you get smoked like that. And DTR, the quarterback, was good. 27 of 39, 262. He had an INT, but still. I mean, it wasn't Bo Nix. Bo Nix was off the charts with 5 TDs. And that's one TD. It was the sweetest looking touchdown where it was this circle route. The running back got backfield, and UCLA did not even see that coming. It was off of a different formation where the eyes of UCLA was headed in a different direction, and Bo Nix threw the ball in the opposite direction. It was a beautiful thing to see. They're like a well-oiled machine in Eugene, Oregon. Very impressed with Oregon. 45-30 beatdown of UCLA. Golly. And the Syracuse Clemson game came down to an unnecessary roughness penalty. They're up 21-10 and cruising. The unnecessary roughness penalty cost them. And it extended the drive when the backup quarterback from Clemson because DJ Angole was horrible. And the backup was just good enough to get enough scores to get Clemson home and get them undefeated. I know he's going to go back to DJ the next game. They did that win 27-21. Syracuse didn't score any points in the second half. They were a mess. They made a mess of things. They're a really good team. They're going to be good. They're young, but not today. And that's the college landscape. I'm looking forward to a lot of matchups in the future coming up. But that was what's going on in college today. Okay, I'm going to get to baseball. The Phillies and the Astros are going to be in the World Series. It's a rematch of when the Astros in the National League of 1980s baseball players, one of the greatest. I went back to just watch that. That's one of the greatest baseball series of all time. The 3 games that went in Houston. Houston won the first. Phillies snatched the other 2 games with Pete Rose and Mike Schmidt. and went on to break the Astros' heart and go on the World Series and win. That was as good a series as you could get. I think this series is going to be great too. First, the Astros sweep the Yankees. Yankees were three things: they were gutless, they were spineless, and they were heartless. The drop fly ball to set the tone. Bader had a great series, but the drop fly ball that gave up those 3 runs in Game 3, and it was 5-0, and then they ended up just dying and just not really showing up, and then they lose that. In Game 4, they do show up, but they take the 3-0 lead. They give up 3 runs right away. The shortstop of the Astros, who was Pena, who was outstanding, had 2 hits and a home run, a 3-run homer. But then Rizzo, who batted pretty well, had 2 hits. And Bader, who had a home run, and they take the lead. And then what happens, and this was bad, what happens is it's 5-4. And here comes an error. This is why I say they're heartless and spineless, where Torres makes an error and they crumble. So, and I watched the Phillies made 3 bad mistakes in Game 3, and they didn't even phase them. And the Padres scored runs off it. It could have devastated the Phillies. And they were like, we don't even care if we make errors or critical bad mistakes and get thrown off, get picked off first. We don't care. We're so relentless. We'll overcome those mistakes by getting clutch hits. The Yankees aren't built that way. They don't have the mental makeup. They don't have the proper necessities it takes. And their organization, and the Astros are good. They pitched good, and they were good enough to take advantage of all the mistakes. When McCullers didn't have his best stuff, it didn't matter, because if the Yankees don't make errors, they win this. That error, Torres and IKF throwing that ball away, that set the tone. If they get that double play, the Yankees probably win. And that puts a little pressure on Houston, because it might be a rain out today. And then that gave the Yankees their pitching staff in full rotation. And the Yankees really, the Astros are not 4 games better than the Yankees, but in between the ears they are. And the Yankees are more like when it was the Yankees and Twins. The Yankees organization have become the Twins. And I wonder if A-Rod doesn't go on that home run streak in 2009, you could, because I remember 2004, it was up 3-0, and I saw this sign by the Red Sox fans that reverse the curse. I was like, When they came back and won, and the Yankees lost and choked, if it wasn't for 2009, we'd be still talking about, man, ever since 2004, the Yankees have not been the same. And maybe they're cursed. Maybe their curse has been reversed, because you lose LeMahieu, and you lose Benintendi, and there's always something that goes wrong with this franchise right now. They're an accident waiting to happen. And fortunately, Judge, you look at Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper shortens up his swing, gets a single, gets a double that you need, and then when you need that 2-run homer, he delivers it to opposite field. Judge, he might not be built like that. I don't know. And he didn't show up. And this generation of these Yankees are heartless. And they have really almost set fire to the great legacy of this franchise with Jeter and all those guys and all the guys before him. And you don't have to win, but compete. And when you're not competitive, almost like you're the Twins, or you're a low market team, or you're like my Cubs. When I have to mention the Cubs and Yankees in the same sentence, that's rock bottom. And I hope, because I'm an admirer of the Yankees, I hope this is rock bottom. But kudos to the Astros. They did what they had to do. I don't know if the Yankees did the Astros any favors, because they're not really battle tested like the Phillies. The Phillies are battle tested because the Padres got after them. I mean, that middle game where they went up 3-1, Machado and Soto hit big-time home runs. They jumped on them with a 4-run lead. The Phillies came storming back, playing little ball, making contact. They're not really doing the sabermetrics thing. Sabermetrics will get you eliminated. I mean, I know you could use it in certain instances, but you can't just go full-blown sabermetrics where you're just reading off the book instead of looking at reality. And Hoskins had a good series for the Philadelphia Phillies. But Bryce Harper's 2-run homer, that place is electric. I tell you what, maybe they're that great. Maybe the Astros are the 98 Yankees, but I can't see them walking into that place in Philadelphia and sweeping the Phillies. Now, can they beat the Phillies in 7 or 6? Yeah, because with Valdez and their pitching and McCullers and Verlander, yeah, they could conceivably do that. I just think with the way the Phillies are playing and how they're hitting, I like the makeup of this team. They're battle tested. They fight. They scrap. The back end of their rotation is shored up with Robertson and Valdez, and then Suarez. Alvarado and Robertson and Suarez really shoring up their back end of their rotation. Now the Astros are very great as far as their back end of their rotation, so they're solid. But Jeremy Pena is a star. He is great. He really replaced Correa. They don't hit like they did in a couple years ago, but they get the hits they need. Altuve's not hitting, but they didn't need him. Not against the Yankees. They might need him against the Phillies, but they didn't need him against the Yankees. They didn't have to hit against the Yankees. They had Bregman. That's the guy I would be most scared of if I'm the Phillies is Bregman, because he's a short swing, great contact hitter, can take you deep. He doesn't swing at balls. He can hit the slider. He can hit the fastball. He is an amazing baseball player, and he does it every year. He's fearless. I understand about Alvarez. He's their bopper, but Bregman, he batted .333. Bregman is a guy that puts fear in me. And Gurriel has woke up. And Maldonado. So guys that aren't hitting in the regular season have woken up. But those fighting Phillies, and the Phillies are not afraid to walk into Minute Maid Park. They walked into St. Louis. They walked into Atlanta. No, they walked into Atlanta. They walked into San Diego. They have no fear. No, they did. They walked into St. Louis and won. Then they went to Atlanta and took care of their rivals easily. And then when they got back to Philadelphia, 1-1. Philadelphia took care of business. I mean, same. And it's just they went to played the Cardinals first, won all those games in St. Louis with no home field. Went and took care of business. Went to San Diego. Went to Atlanta and won. They could go. I mean, it's going to be hard because from inning 7 to 9, the Astros are the toughest team in all of baseball to beat because of their clutch hitting. A lot of times people throw stats and spin rate and how far the ball went out of the park 100 miles an hour. A lot of times it's you got to have your contact hitters, then your bopper in the lineup that is feared, that makes enough contact that can really hurt you, like Alvarez or a Bryce Harper who's desperate for a championship. This guy wants it bad. Then they got Zach Wheeler, who's just flat out pitching the 8Ks against that lineup of the Padres. And the Phillies are pitching, and the Phillies are hitting. I just love it. Kyle Schwarber's been there. Kyle Schwarber has that ring. Bryce Harper is desperate. Castellanos is starting to wake up. Realmuto, Hoskins, and Sosa, who's playing a great third base. And then Segura makes some big time play. And they all make contact. So they got two teams that aren't going to do a whole lot of striking out. And they're going to be battling each other. And it's going to be a really good series. And it's going to conjure up. Go back and look at the 1980 series. Look how great those games are. And I think you're going to get that same type of series this time.